Good morning, Rabotai. Welcome to Breakfast in the Class. Breakfast in the Class today is sponsored by Gail and Sunny Haddad, Lilu Nishmatem, Lilu Nishmat, their great uncle, Hiram Haddad, Haim ben Sophia. Of course, our wishes for Nehama for the entire family. We also want to say as well, Lilu Nishmat, Ruth Orfali Bat Adela, who has sponsored Torah for this entire year. Lilu Nishmatan, her name has been mentioned so many times in association with the Torah. I think there's a beautiful line. It says that when someone is a good person, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. So if you want to remind, we talk about a tzaddik automatically, even the remembrance of that tzaddik brings a beracha. So especially when it's associated with the Torah that was sponsored, Lilu Nishmatam, it brings tremendous beracha as well. So let's begin. My friends, we have some extraordinary pisukim in Parashat Ekev. One of the powerful things about Devarim is in Devarim, we're actually revisiting a lot of the things that we've already seen in the Torah. But what's so special about Devarim is that we're not experiencing it and it's being told to us as a story. We're experiencing it as Moshe Rabbeinu relates it. And let me explain what I mean by that. In life, we do not experience experiences. We experience the way we experience experiences. That sounds like a little bit of word salad, so let me explain what I mean. A person, as an example, might go through something very, very traumatic that turns out actually not to be scary at all. I'll give you my favorite example for this. I went in London to my brother-in-law, Sheikh with all Torah and mitzvot that him and his wife are spreading through Chazak in the UK. Incredible. Chazak Baruch Rabbi Moshe. And we went to their house for Seudah Shlishit. After Seudah Shlishit, I went past the house to go back to my house. I'm walking with my daughter. As I'm walking with my daughter, I tell her, no, it's okay, I'm just going to go get it, go back. I go into the house, all the lights are off, it's after Shabbat, but I had my phone. So I was looking for something in the house. I took my phone with the flashlight and I started walking around the house with my flashlight looking for this one item I wanted to bring back to the house with me. Okay, as we're walking, what's amazing, as I'm walking out the door, I realized my daughter had come back to look for me and she saw through the window a flashlight moving around the house in the dark. We had recently, a week before, whatever it was, 2 weeks before, we'd had a robbery in our house. Now she sees through the window, someone's walking around with a flashlight. Terrified. Anyway, I come back, she's scared, she's crying. What's the matter? She's so scared, there's a robber in the house. I said, honey, it wasn't a robber, it was me. While she was experiencing that experience, what was she experiencing? Nothing. Her father was looking in the house for something. But the way she was experiencing the experience is, there was a ganav there. Lima'aseh, how did it have an impact on you? What did you feel? What did you take away from that? You took away that you were being robbed. My friends, sometimes in life, the Abba reveals himself and says, it wasn't a robber, it was your Abba. And sometimes not. And sometimes a person could go days and weeks and months and years and tell themselves, there's a robber. Sometimes you could think the robber is someone that stole something from your house. But other times a person could think there's a robber. There's another business who opened next to me and he's selling also clothes. There's another supermarket down the road. There's another rabbi. There's another chazan. He's competing with me. Ganav. And the way you're experiencing the experience as if there's a ganav in your life. But actually, as we just said, what happens? What's really going on? It's Abba. My friends, I want to quote to you a beautiful pasuk. The pasuk says, Al tomar bilbabecha b'sitkati heviani Hashem lareshet haaretz hazot. You know something? Why did we get Israel? Because we did this mitzvah. Because we did the Torah. Because we opened the yeshiva. Because we built a mikveh. Because we have a bet knesset like this. You should never say, the reason I was zochet to Eretz Israel back in the time, the reason when they got it was because of my righteousness. Rather, what does the pasuk say? ושמרתם ועשיתם אותם, ושמר השם אלוהיך עליך את הברית ואת החסד, אשר נשבע לאבותיך. Hashem says, no. You want to know why you got to Eretz Israel? Nothing to do with you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a promise to Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov that he's going to take their children to come to inherit this land, walk the land, Yamma, Vakedma, Tzafona, Vanegma. Everything you see it's going to belong to your children. Hashem promised Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov. That's why Or HaHaim says, if you look at the words, the pasuk does not say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu keeps you in the land of Israel. He says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu kept his promise. V'shamar Hashem Elokecha lecha et habrit ve'et hachesed. HaKadosh Baruch Hu guarded. What did he guard? He guarded his promise. But my friends, the promise to Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov was never how long they would stay in Israel. Hashem says, I'm going to bring you. Could you imagine somebody comes to a real estate broker, says, I'm looking for a house. Real estate broker says, where do you want to live? He says, where do I want to live? Right next to Hathaway. How am I going to have a summer without Chazak Farhi every single day? Without Rabbi Haber all the time? Without Nahari's beautiful Silsulim? Where do I want a house? I want a house near Hathaway Shul. That's the only real estate that's expensive in this area. Let's go. Anyway, the guy finds a beautiful house. After a month, the person comes, the Baal Habayit comes to the person and he says, where's my rent? It's an expensive deal in the summer. What does it cost now near Hathaway? 160. Huh? 160. I have on good information over here. A lot of money. So the guy says it's 1 month. At the very least, you got to pay me 1 month. 80,000. The guy says, no. I'm not the one paying. Go to the real estate agent. The guy says, what? Goes to the real estate agent. The guy said, you're paying. Well, I'm paying. Comes back to the guy. He says, what, do you tell us sending the guy to me? You didn't pay me the money. You didn't put it in escrow with me. He says, what do you mean? I asked you to find me a house. He said, Rochai, I found you a house. I didn't pay for you to stay in it. The haftacha of the avot was that the Jews would inherit the land of Israel. Okay, now you inherited it. Well, you think now you got to give maintenance. You got to pay for the land. And how do you pay for the land? We find all through the Sefer Devarim the things that will get you kicked out of Israel. The things that if you do them, God says, be careful, velotaki haaretz, and the land should not vomit you out. That's how simple it is. The land could have an earthquake and split open like a mouth, vatiftach haaretz et pia, and if the land has a mouth, it could also vomit you out. You're here, tomorrow you're gone. My friends, it's so important for us to remember that we have responsibilities if we want to stay in the land. We can't just protect the land and think that that's going to be good enough. Maybe we protect it from an enemy, but did we pay the Baal Habayit to stay? You rented the house, you still need to put an alarm system. So all that we're doing to protect Eretz Israel, absolutely necessary. But that just protects the land from other people coming in, other people hurting us. How do we keep the land? That's our behavior in the land. My friends, I want to share with you something very, very powerful. You know, a lot of times when we forget this, we unfortunately are reminded, HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs to remind us, honey, I'm here, I'm home, look at me. And we don't really want or need HaKadosh Baruch Hu to remind us of those things. But God says, if you figured it out, I don't need to tell you.
Sama, Rabotai, please. There's only one mic.
My friends, Mechila, I'm sorry for disturbing your conversations. I apologize. I know that they're very important, and I'm sorry if my voice is not strong enough to go over. Mechila. Says a beautiful understanding. I want to share with you something unbelievable. There's a certain rabbi. He lived in Russia at the time. Anyway, he had one of his talmidim. The student comes to his rabbi, and he says to his rabbi, I need some beracha for shalom bayit. I need some beracha for this. I need some beracha for the health of my mother. I need some beracha. The rabbi gives him berachot. As he's turning around to walk out, He says, oh, and Rabbi, I just want to tell you, I'm almost about to close on the deal of my lifetime. The rabbi says, oh, Baruch Hashem, you're going to do well. I'm going to do very well, Rabbi. In a short matter of time, Rabbi, you're going to be looking at one of the richest people in the town. Really? He says, Rabbi, what happened? He says, this non-Jewish guy, older, he owns a massive forest, acres and acres and acres of trees. I'm going to be able to come in and chop down these trees. I'm going to make fortunes of money. I just wanted to let the rabbi know, Be'ezrat Hashem, things are going well. Share the news, Ya'ani. Anyway, the rabbi says, don't buy the forest. Anyway, the guy is shaking. What do you mean? This is his ticket. This is his now he's going to move to the Mizrach of the Shul. He's going to be, counted from the Anshe Hechail. His name is going to be on the wall. He can't believe it. What do you mean don't buy? The rabbi says don't buy it. There's not going to be any beracha. The guy's shaking, but he walks out. He thinks to himself, I asked the Rebbe many things. And if you ask the rabbi and the rabbi tells you to do something, you asked. Hanish'al lechacham echad. You ask somebody, a tzaddik, a tamich chacham, he should not go to another tamich chacham and ask him for advice afterwards. Once he told you. Machloket rishonim on what that is. If it's on isur or heter or both. Okay? Because if you ask on isur, it's shavi anafshe chaticha di isura. Other opinions say if it's a heter, it's okay for him to ask somebody else. But I didn't ask the rabbi. I just told him. So maybe I'm not bound by his advice. The deal is too good to be true. And one thing, if I've heard in business, from the businessmen for many, 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 many generations, if it sounds too good to be true,
Usually it's not true at all.
it's not true at all. Okay, the guy goes, he didn't ask the rabbi, he puts the money down. He borrows money, even though it's a great price, he needs to get the capital together. Borrows the money, buys the forest. He gets to the forest with his workers, he cuts down one of the trees. There's millions of trees. Cuts down the first of the trees, and what happens? The whole tree, mitula, has worms in it. Sick. Can't sell it because the wood is not solid, it's not sturdy. Okay, one tree. Cuts down 2, 3, 4. Worms. Vayarum tolaim. He goes to the middle of the forest, miles away. Cuts down a tree. Worms. More worms than you find in unchecked lettuce. Okay. The guy, now, what happened to all of his investment? Worms. He's done. He's flipping out, has no idea what to do, but he's embarrassed to go now to his rabbi. After he told him, Beferush, don't buy it. No beracha. He didn't listen, and now 2 years he doesn't go up to visit his Rebbe to the holiday. Scared, embarrassed. After 2 years, he's miserable. He says, I lost all my money. I should lose my rabbi too. He gathers up the courage. He goes to his Rebbe. He says, Rebbe, I didn't listen. I bought it. I thought I was smart. But how did you know? You knew this forest. You're in contact with the trees. What's going on? And the rabbi said to him, I'm not a Navi. I'm not the son of a Navi. It was not Ruach. It was not Kodesh. He says, you told me about your business deal and you said, I'm going to buy and I'm going to be successful and I'm going to be rich and I'm going to be on the wall and I. The moment I heard that this is how you're approaching this business deal, I know, like it says in the Pasuk, Lefnei Shever Gaon. Before the crisis, before the collapse, comes the pride. You didn't say Be'ezrat Hashem. You didn't say Mirtzeh Hashem. I knew there was no beracha. How many times have I thought of this story in my life? And like I learned in the Pasuk, Ve'aviv Shamar et hadavar. I don't say nothing. It's not my place. You didn't ask me, I'm not going to comment on it. But I watch, and you see all those things that the guy told you he's gonna do, and I did, and I, what happens in the end? It's an eye for an eye. The guy loses everything. My friends, that's a pasuk is reminding us over here. A person has to remember that it's not kochi ve'otzem yadi that did for me et hachayil hazeh, this great act of courage, this great act of strength. Ultimately, it's only Borei Olam. And if you push Borei Olam out of the picture, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, what do we say 50 times a day? What does Baruch Ata Amonai mean? Hashem, you are the source of all blessing. Push Hashem away, what did you push away? The source of all blessing. The further you are from the source, the less the beracha comes. So my friends, when we look at these moments, we have to remember, there's zechut avot teketzeh for us. Now we need to maintain it with our actions. We need to keep up everything that we've done up until this point. I want to end with one last piece. There was a beautiful example of this idea with Rav Steinman. I saw a beautiful example of this. He said to him, there was a certain man who was running a store in Bnei Brak. Anyway, after a long time, he says to his son, he has 3 sons in Eretz Israel and Yerushalayim, and they're studying Torah. And he's each month giving them a little something to help them survive. By the way, so you understand, when you're a Kolel couple, Israeli Kolel couple, you're not driving 3 cars, you don't going out to restaurants, you're buying subsidized bread for 3 shekel and milk, and you're not having meat or chicken on any other day except for Shabbat. This is what it's like. The guys that are learning with tremendous Mesirut Nefesh, and we all got to see them growing up. Nahari tells us stories about these great rabbis and how amazing they were in their Mesirut Nefesh for Torah. So listen to this, because to me, this is everything. The guy says, he says to his 3 children, he says, listen, the business right now, we got to a point, I need you to come work with me in the business. I can't have you anymore learning Torah in Yerushalayim while I'm working in Bnei Brak. You know, with Baruch Hashem, the store is matzliach, but now I need the 3 of you to come aboard to help me with the store. Rav Steinman said, when he heard the story, he said, Oy, if only he realized that the only hatzlacha that the store is having in Bnei Brak is because it's supporting Torah in Yerushalayim. You bring all the workers back, and you think more workers equals more parnasah. Go take a look for 5 minutes out there in the world, and you tell me if more workers means more parnasah. If a company that has more employees automatically means that they have more money. This doesn't work that way. You have a beautiful grocery store. You think, I'm going to go to this grocery store and I'm going to buy everything. This is going to be a successful grocery store. What makes a successful grocery store? Beautiful, the aisles, the products, the help. There are many examples. I just passed by a store, I don't want to say the name, in Lakewood. Gorgeous. It's like you're going to a hotel spa just to go shopping. Millions of dollars down the drain. Who decides if Hashem is going to make a grocery store succeed or not? Only Borei Olam. And you have to play, you got to pay the piper. It's either zechut avot that gets you started, or the zechut that you do afterwards that keeps it going. And indeed, like the rabbi said, he brought all the kids home, and what happened to the parnasah? Till eventually, what did he say to them? Get out of my store. You working here is costing me too much money. Unbelievable. To change a person's perspective, when a person thinks it's only kochi ve'otzem yadi that made for me et hachayil hazeh, if you change your perspective and you say, I can't do anything, but Hashem, if it's not I, if it's we can do anything. I can't do anything, but we could do anything. When a person believes in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they could dream big and they could achieve tremendous things. The question only is, whose name is the PG on the item? Everyone would like to take a mortgage. My dear friend Mendy Pollack knows about mortgages. Everyone would dream to have a mortgage where the PG is somebody else. The personal guarantee. Who's signing on this? Who's backing the deal? I'm here in the middle. But Hashem, He's the personal guarantor. Hashem should bless us, Be'ezrat Hashem, to always include Him in every deal. He's the best partner, and He doesn't even take any percentages. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.